Paige Athertom. In middle school, a girl in my grade decided to wear a spaghetti-strapped tank top to school. I assume it was because it was a particularly hot day, and she probably felt more comfortable in that outfit. She was dress-coded, taken out of a couple of classes, and was told to call her parents so they could bring her something to cover up with. Why is this rule in place? Because her shoulders are a distraction to boys. This is just one example of dress codes that specifically appeal to cis-straight white men. The Minnesota Department of Education needs to act on these discriminatory and objectifying school dress codes. Today we will talk about the problem these dress codes present, and then we will discuss a possible solution. So to begin, let's talk about the problem at hand and how it's affecting American students. There are many layers of problems in these dress codes, but there are three main ones that are common within all of them. The first is the specific discrimination against black women. According to Kira Barrett, the contributor to the National Education Association Today News, published July 2018, she says that the white male default is a perfect example of this. This is a model a lot of schools use that bases their dress code off of the general clothing of a white male. Along with this, Chloe Latham Sykes, the IDRA Deputy Director of Policy, wrote in the IDRA newsletter in February 2020, saying that black women are suspended 6% more often than their counterpart, black males, and 21% more often than white males. The next main problem that I see in these dress codes is the limitations on self-expression. According to Meredith Harbach from the Richmond School of Law in her law faculty publication in 2016, she talks about how many of these dress codes prohibit any kind of cultural, religious, or political expression. This would include things like dreadlocks, any kind of cross necklace or jewelry, and things that involve social movements like BLM, Asian Lives Matter, and women's rights. The third problem that is really prevalent in these dress codes is how they're taking these kids out of class and just distracting from their learning as a whole. Referring back to Kira Barrett, she talks about the suspension rates of students. She also says that students that are taken out of class completely defeats the purpose of them not distracting others when you're then distracting them from their own education. Knowing these three problems, you can then say that these dress codes are inherently harmful. They're also proven to have future consequences. According to Alice Sperry, a reporter on justice and civil rights, she was cited on The Intercept in 2019 talking about how the discrimination black women experience in high school is directly related to their misfortune out of high school, as they are taken from classes and their grades decline and they lose an interest in higher education. You might think that these dress codes are one in a million, but they're all over the United States. Chloe Latham Sykes gives an example in her writing when she says that 2 black high schoolers were suspended for wearing dreadlocks at their school. Kira Barrett then goes on to give a couple more examples involving women. She says one girl was forced to put duct tape underneath the holes in her jeans so you wouldn't be able to see her skin. Another girl was dress-coded for not wearing a bra to school, even though she had a horrible sunburn and it probably would have affected her severely. And finally, she quotes a principal who said that a student's skirt looked like she was about to go out clubbing. Saying that any of the things that these women wear is affecting other students is by definition a form of victim blaming. Now that we've discussed the problem at hand, let's retaliate with a possible solution. The Minnesota Department of Education changing its dress code from what it is now is a great way to inspire national change. Galen Sherwin, the senior staff attorney, wrote in the ACLU Women's Rights Project in 2017, giving a few basic standards for these new dress codes. First, they go to say that no dress codes should target any specific race, gender, or religion. Then they say that stereotyping should not be allowed in these dress codes, and we should not acknowledge the categorization between boys' and girls' clothes. They then go on to say that opinionated clothing should be allowed as long as it is not offensive to a specific group of people. And finally, religious practices should be allowed as long as they do not interfere with education. This plan would be simple to execute. The Minnesota Department of Education would simply have to revise their plan now and then make it known to all the schools in Minnesota. This plan would work because what we mean by make it known to these schools is we mean not only make it known to staff, but students as well. Meredith Harbach says that as long as we make it known to students as well as staff, students will be encouraged to speak out against further discrimination within the school. They also won't shy away from having a conversation about discrimination within schools instead of fearing it. Today, we talked about the problem these dress codes present and a possible solution. The Minnesota Department of Education needs to act on these discriminatory and objectifying school dress codes. These rules have been in place for a very long time, yet they have been ignored for far too long. So wear your hair how you want, show some leg, and break out from the white male default. Because the more we do this, the more attention we draw to the underlying issue of equality in our country today.